Well, on Capitol Hill, the president's national security team faced a second day of questioning over that group chat. Democratic Congressman Jason Crow asked Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, about the threat the information could have posed to U.S. service members in the region.
Just confirmed with CENTCOM, we are a go for mission launch. Does that indicate to you that there is about to be a military operation?
Yes.
Director Gabbard, have the Houthis indicated an ability to shoot down American aircraft?
Yes.
They have in fact done so, haven't they?
Yes.
Including MQ-9 Reapers, haven't they?
That's correct.
And that was one of the systems used in the attack recently that's the subject of this discussion, is it not?
Correct.
Joining me now, retired U.S. Army Brigadier General Steve Anderson. It was a great line of questioning there because it gets to the specificity of why this would be a risk to U.S. service members involved. You're saying the time of the attack, the platforms involved, F-18s, and as Representative Crow there noted, the Houthis have previously been able to shoot down such aircraft. So in your experience as someone who has handled classified information before, is this classified?
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. It's top secret information. Now we're getting hung up and the Secretary Hegseth is trying to split hairs over the word war plans. A typical war plan is 500 pages. Nobody's saying that he sent an entire war plan in a text message like that. But there was at least 5 critical top secret elements of information that were in that thread to include, as you said, timing, locations, the delivery platforms, the delivery locations, but also battle damage assessments. Yeah. That is absolutely critical. We disclosed that we knew that the bad guy that we took out walked into his girlfriend's apartment. Now they know, the Houthis know, that we have probably some inhuman intelligence on the ground watching that apartment. And that person might very well be being tortured or dead right now as a result of that threat.
So let me ask you this. When you try to hide behind just the term classified, it is possible that the defense secretary could say, well, I've declassified this. Does that take away the sensitivity of the information? Whatever you call it, whatever label you put on it, does it take away in any way the dangers and damage that you're describing? Not
at all. Not at all. It's ridiculous to even think that why that information wouldn't be classified is absolutely preposterous. It just shows how incredibly lazy and incompetent, he is, and that's why he should resign. I mean, he made the point accountability starts now when he took office as the Secretary of Defense. Well, guess what? He needs to take accountability for his actions, show responsibility, what every good leader does. He's accountable and responsible. He screwed up. He needs to submit his resignation now.
Let me ask you another piece of this, because beyond the sniping that they did in this text chain about America's European allies, calling them pathetic, etc., if you're an ally that not just shares intelligence with the U.S., but also has your forces in the region who might be exposed as well, in your experience, how would an ally respond to this?
They would be absolutely disgusted, as was I. I mean, they are our allies. They are our friends. The NATO alliance has been the greatest alliance in the history of mankind. It has stimulated 80 years of prosperity, not only in Europe, but in the United States. Yeah. And it's an incredibly successful alliance. And why we would ever seek to try to damage that alliance is beyond me.
Let me ask you how America's adversaries view this situation, because we should note this is not, and we shouldn't take it in isolation. You have a president who took boxes of classified information and threw it in his basement, unsecured, who during his first administration shared classified information with the Russian ambassador. There have been a number of incidents that show that the level of care that one might expect with this sensitive information is not met by this administration. What does that mean, bigger picture, in terms of how, well, our adversaries might take advantage of that?
Jim, here's the big picture. Our national security is at risk, at greater risk than it's ever been. Why? Because our adversaries know that we have lazy, incompetent, deceitful people who are running our country. particularly the Secretary of Defense, the National Security Advisor, the Director of National Intelligence, the CIA Director, who both, Gabbard and Ratcliffe, both of them perjured themselves yesterday and today. I mean, they know, our adversaries know that we have people running the show right now that don't know what they're doing, and we are in big trouble as a result.
You served in uniform. Of course, we have civilian control of the military, and if members of the military get lawful orders, they follow those orders. If they get unlawful orders, or I imagine witness unlawful behavior, for some, there might be a limit, right, as to how much they'd be willing to tolerate or stomach. And have you seen anything in this instance that might lead a member of the military at a senior level to say, I resign in protest?
Well, I mean, I would probably like to see that, you know, if it did come to the fact that there was some kind of unlawful order. For instance, you know, all this talk about Greenland and Canada and Panama. You know, what if this, you know, the president wakes up in the morning and says, hey, we're going to invade Canada. We're going to invade Greenland and Panama. You know, would that be a lawful order? Well, it probably would, unfortunately, because, you know, we in the military have been taught to take civilian leadership, you know, that's a pinnacle, an absolute foundation of our leadership is civilian leadership. And my entire career, 31 years in the Army, I never knew or cared the political allegiance of my boss or any of my people. We just take orders smartly and we move out. I would submit to you that, you know, that kind of an attack would be extremely dangerous and obviously very egregious, and I would hope that it would never come to that. But unfortunately, you know, the president is the president. He's the commander-in-chief, and he can direct our forces to do what he wants.
It would still be, because the president has spoken quite publicly, for instance, not just about taking control of Greenland, but about unilaterally changing the borders with Canada. If the president were to do so, would that be a lawful order to the U.S. military?
You know, unfortunately, it probably would be, simply because he's the commander-in-chief, and we have to take advantage, you know, we have to follow his bidding. Now, I would hope that there are other means, obviously, to stop that from happening. The political, you know, repercussions, I would hope, would change his mind. But, you know, we salute smartly when we're told to move out, and that's a foundation of our leadership, of our military. We've always believed that. We'll continue to believe that. We just hope that America, elects somebody who has the presence of mind and the smartness not to get it, you know, not to cross that line, cross that threshold, and put us at risk like that.
It'll be tested. Retired General Steve Anderson, thanks so much for joining, as always.
Thank you, Jim.